nearly 2/3, about 64% of men under age 25 support making it harder to access pornography online, up for 51% in 2013. If young people are becoming more conservative about sex and pornography, how come Bonnie is still breaking records?
Well, I guess even though you earn so much money, like you've still got your audience is not all men by any means, right? Like you've got a fairly small number of men who are supporting you. I also sense there's this move from the younger men, there's this move, and women as well, against porn. And I suspect that comes from the fact that these are, say, Zoomers who've grown up on the internet.
What does Zoomers mean?
Like born this century.
Okay.
They were brought up on the internet. They were exposed to porn really young ages. I mean, it's often like, I think average age is 11 for boys, something like that.
Crazy.
And they've often been exposed to really extreme stuff. And it's damaged them psychologically and sexually in that like what we were talking about earlier with sometimes weird tastes escalating, but also often, say, struggling with erectile dysfunction when you're actually in the room with, like, if you've trained yourself on porn and on your own hand, when you're then in the room with a real woman, you might not be able to get it up.
For sure.
Or having unrealistic expectations, just not being able to find normal women as attractive because you've become used to watching women like you. And I think that a lot of men have just learnt from their own personal experience and just purely selfishly, like regardless of whether or not porn is fair trade, they've learnt that actually it's bad for them.
Yeah.
And it's probably bad for everyone. Like, I mean, when it comes to porn addiction, for instance, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It's a terrible thing
So
to
I think
suffer
even
through.
with porn, like you mentioned then, they think unrealistic body shapes because they're looking at these women that, no, we do it for a job. Well, it's not a job in most people's eyes, but they also shouldn't do that though, because that's stupid, because probably the porn they're watching, their penis is probably half the size of that, and nor do they have a chiseled six-pack. So, it is terrible when some guys can no longer get hard because they've watched so much porn, or they have unrealistic expectations of women. And they shouldn't, because one, they most probably don't perform like a porn star. But I'm not saying porn's the answer for everything. There's a much bigger issue, problem, but I don't think banning porn is the solution of that. I just think it should be better regulated and more conversations about just sex in general, whether you can't get hard, you struggle to stay hard, you come really quickly, or maybe you don't come at all. It should just be more of a conversation and less taboo. So people become less embarrassed by talking about it.
But should people watch more porn? Because there's quite a big chunk of the population that don't watch porn at all.
Probably more varied porn. You shouldn't always just watch one type of porn.
That's not going to be the issue, though. If you're talking about people who are being educated and getting used to sex in general, a power user or even a normal user of porn, I'm not convinced that they need a varied diet. What we're talking about is like one big group of people who don't use porn at all, and then this other group of people who, some of whom continue to use it healthily, and then some of whom sort of tumble down these darker rabbit holes.
You could say that with anything. Alcohol, chocolate. Like, you can't summarize what one person can do. I could easily have a couple of drinks and stop. Another person can't do that. They're going to, finish the whole bar.
Or gambling might be a good comparison, because obviously gambling is legal in this country. But we know that it hasn't always been. There's been periods where it's been banned. And there are certain things which are banned, like the really sort of predatory end of the gambling industry. And we know that things like the apps can be really addictive, and people ruin their lives gambling. Like, they'll lose the family home, their marriages will break down, everything. And so I certainly think there should be regulation. I think most people do. If you're, I guess in this comparison, like, you're like the gambling boss who owns the app that's like normalizing this, bringing this into everyone's homes. Like, is there not some sense of responsibility? Like, he's obviously he's playing by the rules, he's obeying the law, but it's not virtuous. If I had a
subscriber saying to me, like, look, I've spent so much money on you this month, I can't afford to pay my mortgage, I can't afford the food shop, 100% I'm like, look, let's just chat. Stop spending so much money on me. I clearly want you to be able to pay your bills and do your food shop. So yeah, when I'm speaking to guys online and they'd, just sometimes disclose very personal information with me, I would never want to put them in a difficult or vulnerable situation, but I can't be responsible.
Have you got an opinion on the financial domination industry? Are you familiar with this?
About where, like,
Findom stuff.
Yeah, so like a guy will pay for a girl's life and then like completely rinse their bank account.
Yeah, I mean, it goes even more extreme than that. That the end of this is typically guys will get their paycheck and then immediately send all of it to a girl who drip feeds money back to him as he begs for his own money back.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it's this very odd, is this consent? Is this an addiction? Like, you are transferring this to them.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the girls that are doing this will have compromising material. I know a friend that was at university with me who was doing this with a guy, and she had videos of him coming in a cheeseburger and then eating it. And he was married. He was begging her to have £1 so that he could put some fuel in the car. And she says, there's 50p, get the bus to work. And his bank account has nothing in. His wife is completely unaware that this is happening. Again, with that, consenting adults, this seems to be, I'm trying to find where your limit
like
is
morally, for me, I wouldn't be happy with that. But
that's the first use of the word moral in this conversation.
Right.
Yeah, morally, like, that's not for me. That isn't something I'd enjoy. I wouldn't like that. I'm not doing this for power.
You know what's interesting? That a lot of what you talked about in the very beginning, your justification, was around finances. Yeah. So we may have managed to find something close to the bullseye of where your sort of sensitivity sits, which is...
Don't make people poor, Chris. That would be
exactly. You may play with my private parts, but not my bank account type thing.
These days I want people to be happy, but then it's weird I say that because that guy clearly enjoys that. And I have got some friends that will absolutely rinse guys for money. And their sort of argument, which is true, if it wasn't them, it'd be someone else. And at least then they know they're going to do it in a very controlled situation. But for me, I just wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And everyone is really different.
You found a limit. Congratulations.
For me, it stressed me out. And it wouldn't sit comfortably with me. Loads of things will. Like, I'll take virginities, I'll sleep with 18-year-olds. And those girls would probably say, God, that's disgusting. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. But for me, I'd be stressed and be going to sleep thinking, oh my God, like, what if the wife needs to buy some emergency shoes?
We'll get back to talking in just one second, but first, if you're anything like me, packing for a weekend trip somehow takes longer than the trip itself, which is why I'm such a huge fan of Nomatic, Curry, and their Backpack and Carry-On Pro have genuinely made the travel process so much more enjoyable. They've got compartments for everything, your laptop, your shoes, your sunglasses, so well organized that even your toothbrush will feel important. It's the Marie Kondo of luggage. Everything has its place. And if you're still on the fence, the products will last you literally a lifetime with their lifetime guarantee. So this is the final backpack that you will ever need to buy. Plus, you can return or exchange any product within 30 days for any reason. Buy your new bag, fill it with your possessions. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back. And they ship internationally. And right now, you can get a 20% discount and see everything I use and recommend by going to the link in the description or heading to nomatic.com/modernwisdom. That's nomatic.com/modernwisdom. Thank you very much for tuning in. Congratulations for making it to the end of a relatively short clip. Your ADHD has not taken over that much. And let's put it to the test fully with the actual episode. Right here. Go on. Press it.